And so a while back, Gabi and I, Gabi Colton from Youth Era and I were talking on Facebook, which I joined officially maybe a couple months ago, so I could promote more of my virtual programs on Facebook and whatnot, because now all my programs are virtual, of course, because of COVID. So I was excited when Gabi mentioned maybe we should. I've been asking a lot of my community partners for tips on how to manage photos or posts or groups or pages on Facebook. And Gabi's like, maybe we should do a program. So I took her up on it, and here we are. So I wanted to thank Gabi Colton from Youth Era, and she is going to get started in just a sec. Before we get started, does anybody have any questions right now before we get started? We're going to go ahead. Should we launch the first poll, Gabi?
Sure, yeah.
We're going to go ahead and launch a poll just to get the temperature of the room, so to speak, and see where everybody's at with like Facebook, Instagram, and other social media sites. So if you guys can all answer this 3-question poll, that would be great. You guys see it?
Yes.
You see it, Gabi?
I can,
oh,
yeah.
Cool. I'll just give it another few seconds here. Everybody had time to answer, it looks like. Awesome. Let's end it and see where we're at. Share results. Can you guys see the results now? Excellent. So it looks like we're all in the right place.
Yeah, awesome. So for some of you who are saying you're proficient, some of this might be a little beginner, like an overview of the different platforms and such, but towards the end, if anyone wants to dive in and chat like a little more in depth, we can do that about anything we go over. Let me try to exit this poll.
Oh, here, I can stop it.
Cool.
Here, let me make you a co-host too, just in case that helps, Gabi.
Cool. Thanks for sharing all of your intros in the chat. There's definitely a lot of diversity. It's pretty cool.
And we'll have another poll for y'all in just a few. But for now, I am going to turn it over to Gabi Colton from Youth Era. And first, I'm going to mute everybody so we can hear her and concentrate on her. And then, Gabi, if you could unmute yourself.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you. And I will let you go ahead. And do you have your screen to share there, Gabi?
Would you mind? Oh, yes. Actually, I can do mine.
Okay. If not, I can do.
Can I see the chat when I share? I can't remember.
Oh, I was going to say, too, if you guys have questions throughout, Gabi's totally up for answering questions as they come up. You can either put them in the chat and I'll feed them to Gabi, or you can respectfully unmute. We just ask, that you watch for when other people are talking or whatever.
All right. Oh, I can't share a PDF file?
Why not?
It's making me go to Canva, or do I click screen?
Do you have the PDF open, Gabi?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
And it's not one of your options when you go to share screen?
Let me fix this. Hang on.
Bear with us a sec, y'all.
Let me exit and try again.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you should try sharing. I don't see it as an option on mine.
Here, I'll go ahead and share mine.
Okay, cool.
You can just tell me when to advance.
I have so many tabs open. It's a really bad habit, so it might have something to do with it.
Let me get to the beginning. Hold on. All right.
So, as you all know, because of COVID, tons of people have been forced to go virtual or expand their virtual services. So Paul and I just wanted to have this in our community, just hopefully help out some other organizations or businesses in establishing an online presence. You can go to the next slide. And so just a little bit about me. I'm Gabi. I work for Youth Era. Our services are completely virtual now. And so we've been doing a lot of experimenting and trial and error and seeing what works with our engagement and such. I'm also a photographer and designer and just have had a lot of experience running my own social media and my own business. I'm in no way a professional like social media guru. I've just experimented a lot and worked within the realm for years now. And my info is also there. I don't think we can see it, but we can send that out to everyone later as well.
Oh, you
That
can't
little
see
box.
it all?
Yeah, that little box is blocking it for some reason.
Let me see. Is that better? Can you see more now?
Still blocking it a little bit. That's super weird. I've never seen it do that.
You should be able to move that though.
I think
Either
it's on your end.
Huh.
Yeah, you're moving it.
Oh, okay. Here, let me. Sorry, y'all. Is that better?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. So yeah, there's my info, and feel free to save it and shoot me a message or a phone call at any time. I'm happy to help and brainstorm with people on ways they can use social media.
And we'll post this again at the end.
Yeah, cool. So I think this is what we have the poll for, but in my experience, it's super helpful when you're getting online and getting established to establish a goal, because there's endless possibilities on social media. So it's super important to really think about what you're wanting to do and how you're wanting to engage exactly. Some common ways are like recruiting new clients, providing online services. You can host events, promoting your services, networking with other people, selling stuff, having conversations with your viewers, things like live streams, and also sharing resources with the community. And we have a poll to see what your all's goals are. Might help kind of guide the conversation. So if you can.
I might have to stop the share for a second here.
I think that's right. I know some of you posted in the chat already too, so thank you.
All right, here's our second poll to see what y'all are here for. I know, a lot of options on this one.
Oh, that's cool. You can see them coming right in.
Yes.
Fancy.
I think that only you and I can see them coming in. And we are doing it
okay.
anonymous, so we don't know who's saying what.
Yeah.
Cool. I think everybody's had enough time to give us an answer. Let's go ahead and share these results and see why everybody's here.
Awesome. Lots of sharing news and resources. I like that. That's
lots
super.
of promote your services, as I guessed. And the winner is sharing news and resources, definitely.
Sweet.
But looks like a little bit of everything as far as I see. Great. Thank you all so much. Let me go back so Gabi can see her presentation. There.
All right. And the box is there again too, Paul.
It's on the bottom again?
It's on the right side this time.
Oh yeah. Well, it's wherever here. Is that better?
Negative. There you go.
Oh, that's better?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Sorry, y'all.
No, you're good. All right, we can go to the next slide. And once it's really, for me at least, it's really helpful to have a visual. So I'll like make a plan, write my goal, and then what platforms would be nice and go further with my plan. So it's super helpful to write these things down or put them in a visual space of some sort. The next step I would suggest is choosing the platforms you want to be on. There are quite a few, as you can see, and I'm sure some of you might know all of these and some might only know a couple. The good thing is you don't need to be on every single platform. It's very unmanageable when you take on all of these platforms, especially if you're doing it by yourself. So I would just choose what is manageable and think about where your audience is. So like if you're selling quilts and jewelry, you'd probably want to get like an Etsy and a Pinterest account, and like an Instagram over, say, Twitter and YouTube and TikTok, just because that's where people sell art and post visuals and, you know, appreciate arts and crafts. If you're wanting to share resources, local resources and news, for me, the best outlets are Facebook and Instagram, just because it is so easy to tag locations, post in your local groups, and kind of disseminate that information out farther, like within your local community. Twitter, I'm not as familiar with, but I believe there's quite a big population
Definitely.
of local people on Twitter as well. Sorry, this fly is driving me nuts.
That's right. Gabi, can I add something here?
Yeah.
And I just wanted to point out, you know, Gabi mentions to ask your customers what platforms they use, because like Gabi works with like a lot of youth, so they might know some of the newer, trendier social networking platforms. But like myself, I work with a lot of older adults in the community who are still using Facebook because it's the only social networking platform they've ever used. Some might also use Twitter because it's been around a while. Some are starting to just dabble with Instagram, whereas lots of like younger people have been using Instagram for a while. Thanks, Gabi.
Yeah, absolutely. When COVID hit, we sent out a survey and we talked to each of our youth individually, like, where would you prefer to get our peer support, to get our services, and to get information, really. And it came back that they wanted to be on TikTok and Discord and Instagram. So our staff, a few of us are experienced in those areas, but we really had to dive in and learn and watch YouTube videos and experiment. And it was quite a task, but it is doable, and I suggest choosing one at a time. No, you're good.
I was typing and I hit the arrow key, sorry.
I suggest choosing like 1 or 2 platforms at a time to start with and get them looking good and professional and get used to posting, and then expand if you would like to. All right, see some.
Right. Yeah, some.
Oh, to shrink the Zoom screen.
Let me see. That I am not sure of. If anybody knows how to shrink the Zoom screen, I am all ears. Somebody said to get out of full screen mode, but I don't know if I can while I am.
Oh, can you click escape?
Let's see. Well, I can on the PDF, but you were saying that doesn't look any better, right?
Oh, that looks better actually.
Oh, okay. We'll go in this mode then.
Yeah, I think that looks better.
Okay.
Zoom seems to be acting kind of weird. I've never seen it do this.
Yeah, I noticed some new features. I think it might be an update. Some of the features look a little different today.
Yeah. Cool.
We'll struggle through it.
Yes. So next up, you've chosen a few accounts. Setting up your pages is probably the next step. Choosing a name. I highly suggest creating work Facebooks if you are part of an organization. Definitely important to separate your work and personal Facebooks for many reasons, but it becomes easier to keep track and separate the two. See, I included examples of Paul, and my work account says our workplace and has our hours and such. When you're setting up your private accounts, make sure to change your privacy settings to what you want them. And setting up this account will allow you to like make a Facebook page. You can make a Facebook group and such for your organization. Do you have anything to add about personal versus work Facebooks, Paul? I know you just created yours.
Yes, I was going to say, you can see here that Gabi's more experienced because I wasn't even able to center my image or figure out how to have a tagline like she has.
A tagline? Oh, the little bio. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm still learning as well.
Yeah. There's a lot of settings when you set things up, but it's good to be thorough and put as much information as possible so people can reach you, so they feel comfortable reaching out, and gives you some credibility as well the more info you have on there. All right, I think we can move on from that. nobody
All
has
right.
any questions.
I am seeing the comments about the screen. I'm trying to figure that out.
I wonder if you share from Canva, if it'd be better.
We could try it. Here, hold on.
I think exiting full screen mode might help.
See, I don't know if I can.
Oh yeah, I see Anna, you commented that your personal has become a brand in itself. I do the same thing kind of with my photography, with my personal Facebook is like my photography Facebook as well. And that's totally cool, and it can work really well if you're willing to like put all your personal stuff out there as well, or depending on what you want to share with people, you know.
Do you have your Canva open, Gabby?
Yes. Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and share yours? We're not in full screen, so that shouldn't be affecting anything.
Okay.
Not sure what that's about.
All right, share. Can you see my browser?
Yeah.
Okay. Present. How's that?
Oh, that's much better. Thank you.
Is it?
Oh,
Sweet.
way better.
Cool.
At least on my end.
All right, where were we? Yes, creating
Yes.
Facebook.
Thank you all.
So I can't see the chat while this is up. So if you can just shout out.
Yeah,
anything
I'll feed them to you.
Cool. All right. So yes, creating initial Facebooks, also creating your Instagram and Twitter and such. You don't need to really create a separate one unless you want to communicate with people like one-on-one privately. If you're wanting to just make a page, however, you can just do that from your personal and be able to disconnect it. You don't have to be linked to that personal account. All right, so creating content to share, actually, yes, I'll come back to that. Creating content to share, there's a few awesome options. I think it was Cricket who brought up needing to create infographics for their organization. So I would highly suggest canva.com. It's my favorite. It's very user-friendly. They have hundreds and hundreds of templates you can choose from for flyers, postcards, Instagram, Facebook posts, banners. You can make custom dimensions as well. So you can really make anything on here. And you choose a template, plug your information in, plug the photos in you want. If you don't have photos of your own available, they have a huge library of stock photography that you can choose from and different little clip art elements that are super fun.
So Lindy did ask if there were fees related. All the platforms we're talking about in this slide have free options. So all of these can be used, well, not Microsoft necessarily, you know, Microsoft Word and stuff can't be used for free, but Canva and Adobe, there are free options of almost all of these we're talking about. Great question,
Yes.
Lindy, thanks.
And in Canva, I've always used the free version of Canva and I've been completely fine with it, so I highly suggest it. But if you are creating a lot of content and needing a lot more of their stock stuff, it can be beneficial to buy a subscription. There's also certain pictures and elements in Canva that cost money, and you'll see like a little icon with the indicator that it costs money. They do a really good job at deciphering that between
And
those.
Anna just added that there's a free option and a paid option. The Canva is about $19.99 monthly for the pay option. Thanks, Anna.
Yeah. And Adobe Spark is pretty similar. It's a little less user friendly to me, and it's better for like creating presentations and like images with words on them, like positive affirmation style stuff. Where in Canva you can go a little more in depth with the animations, videos, and like different effects. And Microsoft, I don't personally use. Paul creates all his flyers on Publisher. Is that right?
I do right now while I don't have access to my Adobe at work because I've been working from home.
Yeah. But if you're someone who's used to Microsoft and been using it your whole life, you can definitely create things like this in Microsoft Publisher, and it'll be more like a Microsoft program, and you won't have to relearn something new. But Canva is super easy to learn. All right.
And with Microsoft, you can easily save out to like PDF or Jpeg. We also mentioned Paint there because like I'll often save a publisher flyer to Jpeg, but then I'll use Paint to like get my pixels down for a Facebook event post, you know, because if you don't have it, a picture just the right size for a Facebook event, it'll come off the screen or it'll look too small or it'll get stretched out. So you usually want it to be about 1200 by 600 pixels.
Definitely. And something that's great about Canva is it gives you options, like it'll say Facebook header. So if you want to create a Facebook header, it'll give you the right dimensions, the right image quality, and it does all that for you, so that you can just plug in your stuff and save it.
Yeah, easy to use templates. And Annabelle said Canva Pro is free for nonprofits as well. Oh, great. Thanks, Annabelle.
Oh, I didn't actually know that.
They
That's
just
awesome.
applied. That's great news, as Anna said. And Amanda said Canva Pro allows you to build and save templates too. So it looks like you can make your own with Canva Pro. And if you're a nonprofit, you can do it for free, even better.
Yeah, I'm going to sign up for that too. That's cool, really cool.
It's awesome.
Also, sorry, there's construction above me, so you might hear some banging around. All right, so now to image content or to visual content. It is amazing to create your own content, and it is always a much better way to engage rather than using stock photography. So I highly suggest getting decent at setting up like your products, or maybe taking some example photos of like what your organization does, or recaps of events and stuff like that. So when you're taking photos of, say, products or even people or your staff, good lighting is key. I always suggest going outside. Overcast is better. Lucky for us, it's overcast here a lot. It just creates really smooth lighting. And mess around with different angles as well. Shoot from above or below your products, or and use different textures. When I'm photographing, say, something for the drop, we'll do giveaways for the Coos drop for our youth, and I'll photograph the prizes like in front of a brick wall, or I'll set them up on the grass or something and arrange them nicely. And it creates really nice photos with just your phone, to use in your flyers or in your social media posts on their own. If you don't have any image content, I really suggest using Pexels.com is my favorite. They have thousands of free images. You can type in what you want. Say you're teaching an art class or something. You type in painting and hundreds of images will come up that you can choose from and download for free. And you can use them for free without fear of copyright infringement or anything like that.
I went ahead and put in chat that Pixabay is another one.
Yes.
Like that. Oh, but I think I just sent it to somebody who left.
Oops. Yeah, Pexels is my favorite, but Pixabay is another one. There are a handful of others, but some of them can get confusing because there's a lot of things you have to pay for on them. So Pexels and Pixabay make it really clear that most everything is free and downloadable. When you're creating flyers or brochures or anything in Canva, they also have a huge library of stock photography that you can use, and you do the same thing. You type in a theme you want, say dogs or something. It'll come up with all the images that are free that you can just put right into your flyer, and spice it up and make it look attractive. All right. Oh, also a great way to get imagery and photo content is ask your clients to do the work. We've ran contests before, asking for people to submit photos, doing one of our events or something like that, or take a selfie with a product is a great way to get a lot of images to put out in your social media content.
And real quick, Gabi, I was going to add, Gabi, you mentioned also using Google Images. If you search using Google Images and then you click Tools in the Advanced feature menu, there's another feature will pop up called Usage Rights, and you can click on Creative Commons license to find pictures that are shared for reuse, which I often do because there's usually more images on Google. And that way I at least feel like I've done my due diligence and tried to use a legal photo.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always better to avoid legal problems.
Definitely.
But yeah, if you don't have images to share and you're really wanting to create a more vibrant social media presence, stock photography is a great way to do that. And you can really dive into them and choose what you want to share. And honestly, people don't usually notice unless it's very obvious, like pose stock photography. All right.
If you can afford it too, I highly recommend hiring a professional photographer like Gabi or somebody else, because then you can have personalized images of you and the people in your organization, and your clients, customers, or patrons or whatever will relate more to that content.
Yeah, absolutely. I think community members really love, at least in my experience, when like we post pictures of our youth on our social media. It's kind of a pride thing, and they're really happy to be involved.
We love to see each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in a small community, it's really great to just interact with them as much as possible.
Definitely.
All right, so here's a few tips for sharing. Once you have content to share, post well and post often. I like to say like posting once a week is a good starting point. Gives you time to really work on your posts and think about your content and what you're wanting to put out. Make sure you have a caption. I always tag our location just because that always brings in extra people who search that location. Also tag other people or organizations who are involved, and make as many connections as you can. Using hashtags is a great way as well. It's not used as much on Facebook, but people do search hashtags. So if you hashtag like Coos Bay, Oregon, and somebody looks that up, they may find your post. So definitely thoroughly go through your posts when you're posting and make sure you have everything you need, all the info and images.
And Nick mentioned that you can schedule posts for specific days and times to help spread your posts out, so it doesn't look like, that's a good point, Nick.
Definitely.
So it doesn't look like you just got, you did your once a week Facebook posts and you did them all in like half an hour, which I know I'm guilty of.
Absolutely. I've always been bad at scheduling posts, but I know people who will compile a bunch of content and then schedule it. It's a great tool if you have that amount of content to schedule.
And if you're that organized.
Yeah, not me, honestly. Another great way, once you have your initial post shared from either your page or your Instagram, share to other groups. I really like sharing to like local Coos County groups. Even with different organizations, I'll send them a message with our events, or I'll send out an email or something. So cross-sharing in between organizations is super helpful.
And depending on the group, whether it's public or private, you might have to join, right, Gabi?
Yes. And you can join groups from your page, but you can also join from your personal account or your work account that you have made. I don't use groups as a page as often. It doesn't work as well for me, so I really like using my work account to interact in groups and share my pages content to groups that way, if that makes sense. Once your posts have been up for a while and people start engaging, make sure to respond to everyone. It's super important that they feel like they've connected with you and been cared about by getting a nice response. It helps to respond to people sporadically over the course of a couple days or weeks, depending on how many comments you have, because it actually pops the posts back up into people's news feeds as people comment. So that's a really helpful tool when you're wanting to keep your content in front of people's eyes.
But do it in a timely manner, because I know if I don't do it like the day of or the next day, then those posts are usually lost and I can't even find them again.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I'll go back through our page and just make sure I respond to everyone and see everything because it can get overwhelming.
Definitely.
So stories are also a great way to engage people. I feel like people have their preference whether they scroll through news feeds or they scroll through stories. I'm not a huge story scroller, but a lot of people get information that way. You just click on the images and swipe through them, and different people's content will come up that they share. So once you post something, you can relay that post to your story, or you can post directly to your stories as well. And those are on Instagram, Facebook. I think does Twitter have stories? I don't think so.
Not sure.
I can't remember. It's kind of a newer thing that more platforms are starting to adapt, though. And for those of you who are wanting to share resources and make connections in the community, sharing other people's content is a great way to just keep things flowing between different organizations. I try, it's kind of hard to remember, but I try to check out what other people are doing in Coos County and share the positive, productive things going on. And I personally share to our pages, but I also share like to my work account because I have all my clients added on the work account, so they'll see that as well as on the page. And here I just included a note about file types too. When you're uploading to Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest, you're going to want to use JPEGs or PNGs. Those are image files. I've seen a lot of people in the community lately emailing out PDFs, which is great, but you can't post PDFs to social media. So I've been having to convert people's flyers into JPEG so I can share them. So I always recommend sending out both just in case somebody wants to print it as a PDF, or they can post it on social media as a JPEG. If you're not sharing JPEGs with people, you kind of lose out because those people may want to post it, but they can't if it's the wrong file type.
I just wanted to add to that. If you're on a Windows 10 computer, Windows 10 now has a feature called a PDF to JPEG, I believe, which I often use. Like if a community flyer comes through that I want to post on the library's page, I usually just save that PDF, convert it in my PDF to JPEG converter that's built into Windows 10, and then I can just share that as a post on my library's page or whatever.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a cool new feature. I need to try that one.
Oh, and Lindy said you might want to share how to make a JPEG from a PDF. I can try to pull that up on my screen when Gabi's done here. Maybe we'll go try a run through.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So I know this is a lot of information, and we'll send this out too, so you can look at this again. I just want to highlight some great ways to use social media to engage people. Groups are an awesome way if you are an organization or a business who wants to build community within your clients. If you want people interacting with each other, if you want communication flowing often and sharing different things, I really recommend creating a group or like joining groups or suggesting that your clients join different groups that you like. Creating a group can be a big task, but it's a really cool way to keep people connected with what you're doing and also share like a culture between all of them following you. I see a lot of like artists and photographers and really any type of content creator. They create their own groups for their communities now, which is a really cool way to get people together. Pages we talked about pretty well. This is a great home place for your business or organization, and it's a great place to link to your other accounts as well. People can send you a message, people can share things if you allow them to share things to your wall. It's a great way to just get information out.
So Lindy just posted a question for newsletters, MailChimp versus Canvas. That one I am not sure about.
Did you say Canva?
It says Canvas.
I meant
Canva.
Yeah, she meant Canva. Thanks,
Okay,
Lindy.
cool. So I recently created a newsletter on Canva, and I really liked it. I think it's a little more for the art designer, like artistic brain, rather than like those who are better at just filling in text, because you do have to kind of move things around. I've never used MailChimp, but Canva, I had a pretty decent experience creating a newsletter on there.
And I know in the past I've had colleagues struggle with MailChimp and its limited features. So
Yeah.
MailChimp can be a challenge. I know that.
Yes. I think our whole organization moved to Canva now for our like staff newsletters and such too. It's a really great resource. I also suggest, if you can, run some sort of contest or giveaways. It's a really great way to engage new people, to get your current clients excited or re-engaged with you. We'll do things like art contests or writing contests for our youth, and we'll have them submit and collect them, and they'll vote on winners and stuff like that. There's a lot of different ways to run contests. So if anyone needs ideas or needs to brainstorm, I'm always happy to help.
Great, thanks, Gabby. Gabby, I want to catch up on the chat real quick because we're getting a few in there. Let's see. Constant. Amanda said constant contact is another option for newsletters.
Okay.
So that's one I wasn't familiar with.
Yeah,
Nick said, my nonprofit has a group and a page, which a lot do. She said most users don't seem to understand the difference between group and page, and being able to share posts. As far as sharing goes, there's not really a big difference, is there? You just pick whether it's the page or the group.
Yeah, honestly, Facebook doesn't make that feature very user-friendly. It's when you're sharing to your public wall, you have to like go to a next step to share to your page or your group. And you can do that from that initial post that you make on your original Facebook. But there's several different ways to post, and I can look for a resource that explains that better.
Yeah, but I would say in general, Facebook can be confusing when it comes to the difference between pages, groups, you know, timelines, news feeds.
Yeah,
it's a little overwhelming.
Your page to me is more like your website on Facebook. So that's like the home of your business, the home of your organization. And then if you create a group, that's like where your community can actually communicate and share things back and forth. You can make it private. You can live stream in that group just for your viewers. So it's really customizable too, on how you want to use it.
And then Lindy had asked, does newsletter open up in the email or is it an attachment? I'm not sure how that works with Canva.
Yeah, so with Canva, we actually have to, at least this is what my organization does, we save it as a PDF and then upload it to a third party that embeds it in an email, and I will have to double check on that resource.
And from my recollection, I haven't used it in a long time, but from what I remember, I think MailChimp, last I checked, wasn't using attachments. I thought
it's embedded.
I think you had to embed it. And then Anna asked, does Canva allow you to send them and see who is engaged with them?
With the newsletters?
I believe so.
No. So that is something that MailChimp does and Canva does not. I don't believe.
Okay, great.
Unless I'm not sure of that feature yet. But you just, I believe with Canva, you save the image files and then use that in whatever form you're wanting for your newsletter.
Gotcha. And then David added, there is an opportunity to integrate Canva and MailChimp.
Ooh, that sounds complex.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, that stuff.
You're scaring us, David.
I know. I am pretty new to newsletters and such, and like embedding the images in the actual body of email.
Likewise.
But I can find some resources because I need to learn on that too. All right. We talked about newsletters. Email blast is pretty similar. I know at least in the social services field, it's really popular to send out email blasts with events and resources, especially during COVID. So that can be a great way. If you don't have an email list, I suggest reaching out to other organizations. Luckily, people are nice and a lot of people will help and like share your stuff. So I always suggest asking people who you know are doing this well already. Live streams is super scary, newer thing. I personally don't like live streaming. I've tried it a few times with our youth. It takes a very special person to live stream just because you have to put out so much energy, and it is a very social activity. But certain people who have something to live stream and feel comfortable doing that, I highly suggest it because that is where people are at. People are always on their phones and computers taking in content, and live streaming has become huge for every realm besides gamers. It started as gaming mostly, but platforms like Twitch are now populated with therapists, doctors, writers, drawing, arts and crafts, everything. So if you're like an artist and wanting to teach or something like that, I highly suggest trying out live streaming. Facebook makes it super easy to live stream and test it out. Instagram does as well. Twitch is a little more complex and you have to dive a little deeper into the technicality of everything. But if you're wanting to try it out, I highly suggest it. And then online events like this one, it's super helpful to set up events that are creative and that engage your clients, and make a flyer, make a Facebook event, and get it out there and have people start sharing. And it can be a really effective way to get people together as well.
Definitely.
All right. I know that was a lot of info. So I just wanted to include a couple examples of great ways people here are using social media. I don't know if any of you know Jamar, but he's awesome at his social media and what he does for the co-op. And he creates events all the time. He creates the flyers every time, and he explains it and links to it and just does a really thorough job at and really professional at promoting their services. And he does all this on his own. Do you? Dang it. I know he makes some, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, this one you made, but I've seen some that he has made for the co-op.
And join us next Thursday.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even realize I was giving you promotion for your event.
Thank you.
I actually just chose one of the recent ones.
Perfect.
And then the Pixabay Library, I just checked out their Instagram actually for the first time, and I think you guys do a great job at like taking great pictures of the books and posting relevant stuff that people are going to be engaging with.
That's all our librarian, Brittany.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, so that is the bulk of my information. I did want to share, I didn't have much time to do this PowerPoint, so I just added a little extra note here. I actually made this PowerPoint on Canva too, and it was the first time, and it was super easy. So if you need to make presentations, it's a great platform to do that as well. I really suggest teaming up with other organizations. I talked about this a little bit, but running contests with them, sharing your content and just sharing back and forth is a great way to engage more people and really get people connected. All right, does anyone have any questions?
We have a good one from Janelle at Zonta. She says, Zonta has a new website and gives the address. She says, I would like to post pictures, etc. on the Instagram from our website, and she doesn't know how.
Let me see if I can pull up the chat. Sometimes you can right click and just save the images from the website. I'm guessing you may not have access to like the back end of the website. If the permissions are off to right click it, you can also screenshot them if they don't want to send them to you, or if they don't have time to send them. Let me see if I can click on it. Oh, I don't see the link. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I didn't talk about websites much just because that is a whole other realm, but it's always great to have a website and link back to it on all your social media. Okay, stopping share.
And with with whatchamacallit, with Instagram, isn't it easier if you have like those images on your phone or your mobile device? I feel like
Yes,
Instagram's more easier to use on a mobile device than a computer.
definitely. Instagram doesn't, I don't believe they let you post on your computer yet. I saw that they were working on it, or maybe it's a beta. But yes, Instagram is a lot easier from your phone, and you can actually connect your Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you can connect those accounts all together. So if you're having trouble managing multiple accounts, a lot of people will use Instagram as their kind of home base, and they'll set it up to share automatically to their Facebook page. So that's a really great way to eliminate some work on your end and kind of keep things consistent. And it's pretty easy to link up those accounts. I always YouTube if I don't know how to do something or if I can't find where to change those settings.
Janelle said that homepage strip image is awesome sauce.
No.
What homepage strip?
On the Zonta Club website, there's
Oh, gotcha.
a big image of everyone in masks, and there's one person holding a "Yes, we're open" sign. That on a bridge, that's
It's
a
awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, David. Very cool.
Yeah, and on the Zonta site, it looks like they have the save image feature disabled. This image is huge, for example, so you can always screenshot it. You could either do that from your phone, but you can also I use the snipping tool on my PC laptop, and it lets you choose the part of the screen you want to capture.
Yeah.
They also might have them in an album, so it might be a good idea to reach out and say, hey, I need these pictures for our Instagram.
And Lindy mentioned that Zonta has that image on their Facebook page as well. You might be able to save it off the Facebook page. One thing I've noticed with Facebook is you often can't save the image on the initial page where you see it. You often have to click the image and open that post or image up, and then it's on that second screen or pop-up where you can usually right-click and save it to your computer.
Yes, definitely. And Facebook always compresses things, so just be cautious if you are sharing something on like your website. Facebook makes the images smaller, and it also takes out all the initial metadata and tracking and original stuff that the original photo had in it. So it's always good to use originals if you can and not save from Facebook. But of course, it works if you don't have an option.
And Lindy gave Christy Bishop credit for taking the picture.
That's awesome.
Annabelle mentioned that she often copy and pastes them into a blank canvas screen to add logos and crop, etc. Yeah, then you can fully manipulate your images.
Definitely, yeah.
Thanks, Annabelle.
And the more detail you put into it, the more professional it looks. Like adding a logo to a photo that you're posting can be a great way to just kind of polish everything off. I highly suggest also creating banners and matching profile pictures, or something that shows off your services, and those are easily made in Canva as well.
And everybody can unmute too if they have questions. We can just go ahead and chat at this point if people want to, and we can share actual Facebook screens if people have questions as well about stuff like that.
This just popped up real quick. This is Lindy from Zonta. Christy also took this picture the same day at Mingus Park.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Very cool. Thanks,
I
Lindy.
love that. That is such great marketing and positive influence for the community. That's so cool you guys did that.
Awesome.
It was very last minute. We were trying to get our website ready for a reveal, and so we just put a message out to our members. It happened fast, but it was good.
Yeah.
And you got them
so
all in
cool.
one place. Congrats.
Yeah. With such an awesome message to share too. That's amazing. It gives me an idea.
And
right.
Do people understand the difference, like say on Facebook, between like a profile, timeline, a news feed? Does that make sense? Or would people like us to go over that? Uh-oh, we've silenced them.
Yes,
Uh,
please.
Susan says nah.
No. What'd you say, Joel? I couldn't hear you.
I said, yes, please.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do it. Do you want to share yours, Paul?
Sure. Let me get on mine here. Let's see here. Okay, so does everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so I just clicked home. So this is what they would call my news feed, right, Gabi?
Yes. So this
When you
is your
click-
news feed for your personal / your work account. This is
So
not
if
like the page.
If I scroll through here, I see posts from like pages I follow, like this programming librarian. Sometimes there's ads mixed in. There's one from Gabi because we're connected on Facebook. So usually when you click home and go to your news feed, you're usually seeing stuff you're kind of related to on Facebook, like people you're connected to or pages you're connected to. If you click on yourself or your username, like I'm going to click reference now, that's what Facebook calls your profile page. And if people ask you to check your timeline lives in your profile page. So if I go down here and I click timeline, then it's probably just stuff that I posted, right, Gabi?
Yes, or that you've shared. If you share something to your Facebook, it'll go on your wall as well.
So you can see stuff I've posted about programs and completing the census, you know, and some of it's stuff I created and some of it's stuff I've shared from other people. Your profile page, when you click your name, is also where you find the friends page. A lot of times people come into the library and they ask, you know, how do I remove a friend or change like a friend's level, like on my page, because I'm seeing too many posts. This is where you do it. You click friends, you go down, and then you can adjust the level of friendship, so to speak, you know, if you're seeing too many posts, or you can just remove the notifications altogether or hide them. You have anything to add there, Gabi?
So that's your actual account. And then if you go to pages, your interface looks different than mine. Facebook can be a little different on everyone's computer. Oh, I think it's
I
up
don't
in
think
your.
I have a pages. Oh, because I haven't created any.
You see on the right, it says your pages, South Coast Oregon Connects, and then Coos Bay.
Oh, yeah. So we go to the library. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So Paul.
These are pages I manage.
Paul manages this page. Did you create it?
No.
So someone created the page, but they invited Paul to be a moderator so he can post stuff. So it'll show up in his list of pages there that he moderates. And then if you click on the page, you can share directly to your page's wall. And if you want to share other people's content on your page, you have to click what you want to share to when you're sharing that post. That might be a good thing to go over.
Yeah, so like, and now we'll cover too the part I was talking about earlier with groups and stuff. Let's say I wanted to share this post here that one of my coworkers posted for our Blackout Poetry Art Contest. I can go below the post and click share. And then it's going to ask me, do I want to share it in a group or a page? Also, if you're sharing events, you'll get a more detailed lineup. Let me go to events real quick. Because I often share my events to promote them, you know, on community pages like Gabi had mentioned. Why isn't this loading? Oh, I'm at the bottom. So like, let's say I wanted to share this one from today. If you go over to more and click share event, you'll see I have the option here to share on my timeline, which nobody really goes to my timeline because I post on other pages. But here I can click share on a page I manage, which that would be these three here, South Coast Oregon Connects, Coos Bay Library, and the Coos Hispanic Leadership Committee. I could also share in a group, but it would have to be a group that I'm connected with, right, Gabi?
Yes, so most groups you have to click join. And if you're joined, you can then share.
When I click that, I can like start typing a name like here, a new book club I started with the North Bend Library and the History Museum comes up. I could click that. I could say something here and post it, and it'll go to the Unlimited Book Club group page. Or like I said, I could do it to one of these pages I manage. So you have a lot of different options with your events. And with your post, it's usually either group or page. Does that make sense? I'm going to stop the share for a second here. I think we got some more in chat.
I just put the link for the difference between moderator and admin. Admins just have more permissions, like they could delete a whole group if they wanted. And then the moderators have lesser permissions where they can like delete comments, where they can block people, stuff like that. And you can change all those settings. So if you do set up a group or a page and invite moderators, just make sure you're choosing the settings you want. And usually there's a lot of stuff, but it really helps to read them and get to know what your settings are in case you have stuff come up in the future that you need to change.
And it looks like Nick brought up a point, said that things posted to Facebook stories are only available for a short period of time. So she's saying it's best to share to both your story and your page because it'll live on your page longer than your story. Thanks, Nick.
Yes, thank you, Nick. I forgot about that short time period. So I usually post an initial post on my page or my personal wall, and then I will share that post to my story so that the original is still there when the story time runs out. On Instagram, you can also make some of your stories permanent. It's called highlights. That's a really good way to have a couple things up that you want people to always be able to access in a short amount of time.
Right. Let me see if I can pull something up. Somebody had asked about converting. I want to see if this page will actually share. Oh, yes. Does everybody see this page here?
Mm-hmm.
So I got this by just searching my computer for PDF to JPEG. So here I can actually select a file from my computer that's in, I'm going to grab this PDF of some research we did for a patron. And it'll grab the PDF. Sorry, it's at a weird angle. But then you just select the folder or place you want to save it to your computer. I'm just going to put on my desktop. And I'm going to click select folder. And it immediately saves this PDF as a JPEG to my desktop. So now if I don't know if you guys can see. Can you see my desktop?
Nope, we can't.
Oh, shoot.
I didn't talk about organization much, but for me, I'm still learning to be organized, and it is so helpful to just have one folder that all your images go in on your computer, one folder that your flyers that are finished go in. If you have drafts, put them in a different place, name them something else so that you can kind of keep track of what you're doing. It's super helpful.
And if you're creating content like flyers or any kind of other promotional materials with Microsoft, all the Microsoft products have the option to save to a JPEG and or a PNG, which then you can post to Facebook, Instagram, etc., because those are picture files. So you can always just save it as a JPEG initially, but if you do get those PDFs, you can always convert them.
Definitely. Yeah. It is 1 o'clock. I don't want to keep everyone too long, but seriously, if anyone wants to just brainstorm something out with how you guys want to use social media, shoot me a message. You can add me on Facebook. I think Paul can send out my Facebook. I don't think I had it on the slideshow.
And if you guys have one of our contacts and you want to get a hold of the other, we'll pass it on. Oh, do you want us, did your last slide have our contact info, Gabby?
It did. I forgot to share it.
I think we just skipped out before that last one.
I know. I'll bring it up in case everyone wants a screenshot.
Thank you.
Maybe.
Oh, and Anna had a good question. She said, do you have much information about paid advertising and messenger bots?
Paid advertisements can work really well if you choose the settings that are best going to target your audience. So like, for example, Top Dog Cafe just put out an ad and it came right up on my feed. They were doing some sort of special. They had a great photo of a sandwich. I immediately wanted to go get one. And it popped up because it was sponsored, and you can choose like to target people in Pixabay. You can choose to target a certain age range, certain demographics. So they can be super helpful. Just make sure you're putting in the right settings that are going to really help get people to that ad.
But a simple Facebook ad, if you can afford it, will add a ton of extra promotion to that event.
Absolutely. I'm not too sure about how much to spend, like, to make it worth it. I would just say try it, see what happens. If it's not, doesn't seem like it's working right now, you know, you don't need to keep paying for it, but it's definitely worth a shot.
And you'll probably see the effects almost immediately. Like sometimes my my supervisors at the library will boost, they call it, one of my events by paying for an ad. And I'll just see it start popping up everywhere, which is great because I would have had to manually, with the free Facebook, I would have had to manually repost those every couple days to have them pop up that way. But they'll just pop up in people's feeds, you know, that have related content.
Absolutely. I believe you can schedule when it pops up again too, which is super helpful.
Think you can.
If you know your teenagers are up late and you want teenagers to see it or something. Also on the bots, I do not know too much about bots. I know they're becoming a huge major problem, especially, you know, with all the elections coming up. I've seen a ton of automated messages.
Is that just like spam messaging?
I know there are fake bots that spam message and try to do scams, but there's also pages can set it up to where they can automatically message people, I believe, who like them or who have messaged them before. I'm not too sure about that. I can find a resource though. It's such a new thing. I don't even want to dive into it sometimes. It's
we'll have
kind
to
of
dig
scary.
deeper on that one. Yeah.
I know, it kind of freaks me out.
Let's hope that doesn't become a thing of the future.
I know. I report things a lot if I see, like, if you click on an account and they don't have much info, they don't have pictures or posts, like, it's pretty obvious that they're fake. And we could do a whole webinar on like how to detect fake accounts or bots, and there's a lot of stuff. What did they say?
Anna added that there are some pretty neat marketing promotions that I've seen through bots. However, I know nothing about it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that either.
I'll write that down to look into that.
And Susan said, do it. That sounds valuable to detect the fakes. Often, often you can tell, you know, when you get a message that isn't credible, or it's usually sounds weird, looks weird. You know, the couple I've seen, I just ignored them because I knew it was just some random weirdness.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a helpful webinar of some sort. I feel like I'd have to know more about it, but yeah. Usually if you click on your page
Anna added specifically a Black Voices one that sends stories about Black history.
Oh, interesting.
This is one you've seen, Anna?
That's cool. I've seen something similar, not that one, but I follow a page that sends me a message every so often, updating me on what they're doing and such.
I'd like to see that one.
I'm not sure how that works. I want to say you probably have to be like verified with Facebook or Instagram or whatever that is, but I could be wrong too.
Interesting.
If you get verified, it's like another level of like credibility for you, or it shows you're famous or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
You're an influencer at that point, I guess.
Right.
Cool. Does anybody have any other questions? Don't be shy.
All right.
Well, thank you all so much for coming, and thank you so much, Gabi. I learned quite a bit.
Thank you. I'm glad it was helpful. There's so much information, so seriously, reach out to me if you need any support.
Yes, me too. Even somebody said do more trainings. All right, we might have to think of a more advanced one.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you guys do want a more advanced training with specific features, do reach out to Gabi and I, because then we could tailor something in the future to cover those specific needs or wants.
Yeah, definitely. Even like we could do one on just making flyers or newsletters or something like that, and we can sit and work together.
Yeah. That could take a whole hour right there.
Definitely, yeah.
because there's just so many different options.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you all.
Bye. Yeah. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Happy
All right.
lunchtime.
Be safe, everybody.